Okay, so today we're going to talk about Wasa, WebAssembly. And you can see it's part of, actually I'm looking at, you can see it's part of the Polkadot. Rust is compiled to a code that Wasm can execute, and Substrate lives on top of Wasm, and Polkadot lives on top of Substrate. So we're going to have to talk about Substrate, but we'll start today with Wasm. Let's get this nice and big. All right, let's see what we got going on here. All right. Okay, so WebAssembly, or Wasm, it was developed by Mozilla, and I think Google and Microsoft might have also been involved, but Mozilla is my main reference for this. And it's a browser virtual machine. So in some ways it's similar, it's a similar type of thing to the JVM, but it's actually complementary. And it supports, the nice thing about it supports several languages in different ways. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So compiled to a code. It also has a JavaScript API. It puts it in a low-level format that is actually faster than the JVM. And Substrate, as we just saw, is built on top of Wasm, or WebAssembly. So some of the key concepts is a module, which is a Wasm binary. Browser compiles it to machine code, and it's stateless. So it's not tied to any process state. And it has low-level memory access. It's an array. Let's see. It is low-level memory. It has I feel like I'm missing something with that. Anyway, table resizable to typed array. So it contains references, that methods and etc. that can't be stored as raw bytes. And then you have a concept of an instance, which is a combination of a module plus state. So it is, a module by itself is stateless, but you can add state to it. I think it's similar to the concept of having a like a class or a static item in a class and creating an instance of a class. So these are the key concepts of Wasm. Now, writing to Wasm, there are a number of options. You can port a C, C++ application. You can write a Rust application and target Wasm, which is what Parity Tech did for Polkadot. You can use assembly script, which is similar to TypeScript, and again, it can compile to a binary. You can actually directly write Wasm. They're all viable methods depending on what you're trying to do. If you really need speed, you may want to write directly. If you already have C and C++ code, then it may make sense to port it. If it's new, perhaps Rust or assembly script are good options for you. The Parity Tech people used Rust. So now we're getting, to talk about Wasm and Polkadot. They chose Rust Wasm over EVM, which was used by Ethereum. Their reason is, from their documentation, it's memory safe, sandboxed, and platform independent. They have both 64 and 32-bit integer support. It can be made deterministic, so you know exactly, the thing with Java is you have the memory cleanup, the trash collection that makes things, not 100% deterministic. It's also an LLVM compiler, and this is a compiler technology that they've been working on for years. And also it's under continuous development by big companies like Mozilla, Microsoft, Google. So that's why Rust was chosen and combined with Wasa for the Polkadot code. So my references were the WebAssembly concept, where they go into great details, and this is developer.mozilla.org, and I looked at Parity Tech's article, Why We Believe Wasm as the Base Layer of Decentralized Application Development. So this is your introduction to Wasm, and again, this is where it fits in with the Polkadot infrastructure. So the state machine is compiled to WebAssembly. That's here, and they compile it to Wasm. Okay, so it was and it also uses this, which haven't spoken about, and the runtime environment is being coded in Rust accessible. Okay, so that is the story. I'm just looking at this again. It's saying Polkadot state machine is okay. So the state machine is compiled, Rust compiled to WebAssembly, and that is the story of Wasm. So hopefully this has been of value to you, and we're gonna see how this all works. The next thing we need to discuss is substrate, which is the next step in the tutorial that we've talked about, is getting substrate going, and because we built our little smart contract, but I think before we do that, we should talk about what substrate is, and Wasm we just discussed. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you find it valuable, please give it a like. And if you're interested in seeing more, please subscribe. And I will see you all next time.